Welcome to Business Growth Talks. Today we have Stoy Hall, who is the CEO and founder of Black Mammoth, where he champions financial literacy, inclusivity, and holistic wealth management. With a mission to get rid of the world of financial illiteracy, Stoy blends technical expertise with his focus on emotional intelligence to help clients achieve true wealth. He also manages Calla Capital, applying a modern family-centric approach to financial planning. He also hosts the No BS wealth podcast, offering candid insights on financial empowerment. Stoy's passion for philanthropy and community engagement is evidenced through his involvement in initiatives like Black and Brown Business Summits and Female and Finance. A dedicated father and a culinary enthusiast, he works in making wealth management accessible and meaningful for all. Just a quick one. I just wanted to say thank you very much for joining me today and being with me on this show. One thing that is really, really important I want to share with you is this show is growing really well, and I'm so proud of it, and I'm so pleased that you're enjoying this content. But if you could please hit the follow and subscribe to this channel, it will really help the channel on its being able to grow and the people that we can have on this show. So please do consider, if you have a moment, please can you hit the subscribe button and the follow button, and I would really appreciate it. Stoy, how are you today?
I'm doing great. I really can't complain. It's a little chilly out and the snow's on the ground, but we just spent 2 weeks in Hawaii. So.
Oh, tell me a bit about Hawaii. It's it's on my bucket list. Yeah.
My family's, well, we usually go every year, but it's come with my wife and my 2 boys, like our home away from home. If we could live there with the schooling district and everything, we would. But I try to push everyone to go. It's on my bucket list. Talk to me. We're going to figure out how to get there. It's just a place that you really can connect with the land. You just feel whenever it energizes you. And this year we were able to be there when the eruption happens. We were on the volcano watching it erupt, which is very thing because growing up, think of volcano eruptions, you're thinking, right? Yeah. But we're standing there with our kids watching it. It was fantastic.
Wow, sounds amazing. It sounds a bit dangerous, but it sounds like it was all controlled. You're all in the
part. I guess they it exploded, but it's a pretty good way to go out.
Yeah.
Explode.
Amazing. The first question I ask all of my guests is, what does a business mindset mean to you?
Business mindset, to me, really comes down to this. You have a product, a service, a tool, whatever it may be, that you care more about others than you do about money. And I quote that a lot, meaning your service, your product, your tool is so impactful for other people that you want to help them. You want to get it out there. You want to do as much as possible. And in doing so, focusing on the end user and helping somebody comes the money. But as a business mindset, I don't believe you should have sole focus on how much dollars come in the door, because then you're not doing it for the right purpose. Typically, a lot of those businesses. So a business mindset is finding whatever service, product, tool, whatever it is, and really truly caring more about that thing to help serve others than just focusing on the money. I take care of other people and I give as much as I can. It's going to come back to you.
So you say about serving other people. And as I said in the intro, and we're going to talk about it, that you're involved in a lot of community initiatives and things like that. Let's just dip into that. We'll probably come back to it later. Just dipping into it. For you, has your growth in your business been based around the community? Because you talk about it, your clients being your family, which is a lovely message. How have you been able to bring clients in to that sort of community engagement that you've done? How have you managed to do that? What was your vision at the start of it, and how have you managed to grow it that way?
Yeah, it really comes down to community. I did a lot of research in college of just culture. We went to Africa and Mount Kilimanjaro, and I really started to figure out what true wealth was. And while we were there, we met some amazing people, but they were sweeping mud floors. But they were the happiest, most wealthy people I've ever met in my life. But it had nothing to do with the dollars. And so I was like, how is that possible? Going to school as a finance major and being like, money is the key, money is everything. How can someone be and live that way. And I really came back to the fundamentals of humans. One, we love interaction with each other. We are always around a community, and we're here to help each other whenever in situations that are. Why can't business ran that way? And so that's the key part of everything when I meet with people is, are you a good person? And I mean, in a term of, I want to help other people and serve them in ways that maybe I can't do, but I can connect with Mark, right? And so that community-based feel really started to attract. And it wasn't like I had 100 people come down my door every month to be a client. It was one or two here or there because we helped somebody. And because we helped someone that had nothing to do with our core business, we connected the right dots. And all of a sudden they're like, hey, you need to meet Stoy. He's an amazing person. And then it just kept growing and growing. And at this point, my network reaches across the nation of amazing people. They might not be my clients, but when I need to help someone, I can call them up real quick and take care of them. And it all fundamentally comes back down to humans, community, and that human touch.
It's making me think of the New York idea is that I've got a guy who can help you with this or help you with that.
Right. Money for the story. Like
He's my guy. Wonderful. We'll come back to community and your efforts in that area later. But another question I ask most people is, tell me one thing about your upbringing which reflects on who you are today.
Yeah, so I was raised by a single white mother. Dad really wasn't in the picture. And she did everything she could. She went from being a business owner to working 12-hour shifts to working in the bars overnight. Good and bad, right? Good and bad situation there. What I learned the most from my mother or my situation is two things. One, people that rely on gifts, like that's their love language, right? Okay, if you want a new pair of shoes or a bat or you name it, that love language about money, I learned is a very negative relationship, or a very actually abused relationship, because you're attaching all your value to an item.
Yeah,
that's really what it should be about. The other side of that I learned is we don't really have financial education or literacy, specifically when I was being raised. It's a lot better now, but when I was being raised, not a lot of people knew anything. The poor communities don't know anything. Minority communities don't know anything. Really, the only people that know anything have teams, and they're the ultra wealthy. They're the rich people who have millions and billions of dollars because they have a team. So when I was growing up, those two, I didn't know what the hell they were. I was just being a kid. And now that I went through and transitioning into the adult I am now, those are the two driving forces of what I do every day. One, educate people as much as I can for free in every platform we possibly can. And two, get their mindset away from items and more about experiences and memories in life. Because those have a better return and a better value than anything you'll ever invest in or buy ever. And truly, that's wealth.
I genuinely think schools, financial literacy in schools education is virtually zero. I don't understand why that's not part of the schooling system. I equally think that there's people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s maybe, who have no idea about investing, or like you've got the Roth IRA, we've got the ISA in the UK, having those sort of things in place. People just are either not aware of these things, or they've never been told that they're important for long-term wealth, but equally long-term security, because security is massive when it comes to whether you're working towards your retirement or towards legacy planning. The idea of wealth should be part of your literacy and what you understand. So I think it's incredible what you're doing. I'm totally in awe of how you're actually going about it in your business, because it feels like it's altruistic, but I know you're doing it because you're running your business and you have to have a functioning business, a profitable business. But I love the fact that you're building in minority communities, which just, they don't get taught it. People aren't being taught this. Tell me how you're doing that. How are you educating people? Are you using social media? I know you got your podcast as well. Tell me how you're helping people.
And then I want to come back to what you had said a little bit. because I've been doing it so long, my mindset's a little different on the educational literacies kind of thing.
Okay. Yep. Sure.
So how we're doing it. I used to go into schools, churches, colleges, community centers, and put on classes. You name it, top to bottom, budget investment. And I used to do that a lot. Like I had 2 or 3 nights a week for probably 6, 7 years. It never really got anywhere. What do I mean by that? Is people should, yes, people, but as a community, I never saw the shift from poor, not feeling poor, but like not having anything to like starting to get out of it. I never saw that transition. I could not figure out why. I really, truly. So then I'm like, hey, everyone's on social media. Social media is a thing. TikTok, Instagram, everything is everybody there. They're getting probably 90% of the information they learn from some type of social media phone. So why not transition to that? So that's when we launched the podcast. That's when we do all of our shorts and reels and posts and tweets, and you name it, as much as possible. Giving everything we can from a very transparent, no bullshit white person. Starting to see a shift in the community from financial illiteracy, and what illiteracy, meaning they have no idea what the hell going on, they've never seen it before, they don't know the terms of verbiage, to, hey, they understand it, they know it, they know how to get to it, they know how to research it, they know what it is, but they're not putting it into their own lives. Which is where now we're in what I call, we're lack financial education, and that is because we lack the education to implement it into our own personal selves because of one key, the mindset, the mental, the emotional. We've done everything in our industries very well of fixing the literacy problem of like, people explain what a Roth IRA is, but we have not committed the years and years of trauma, financial trauma in people's lives that affects their emotional and mental side. Our business is always saying, take the emotion out of business decisions. Take the emotion out of financial decisions. If possible, we're humans. We built our emotions. We can use those emotions, recognize those emotions to make the right decision. Or now where I'm at with everything that we're putting out is it's all about the mindset, about the financial behavior. Because you have all the knowledge for everything else and you can get it all. But that one key cog is causing an issue across the board. And that is the primary issue that we see today.
But it's not just financial literacy, it's taking action. So we now are inundated with ways of having knowledge passed to us. People are reading books, they're listening to podcasts, they're going on YouTube, they've got learning and development apps that you've got on there. So it doesn't matter if it's financial literacy or entrepreneurship or understanding AI, whatever it is. There is all the information out there. It's taking action. It's that action stage, which is the biggest challenge for everyone. And I'm really fascinated. So you talk about community and holistic client well-being, inclusivity. How are you teaching people once they have the basic information? Right now, you have to implement it. What's your strategy? What's your go-to way of being able to tell people or educate people that they need to take action as well?
One of the differences, so we actually don't educate them on the financial stuff up front. We start with, my main question is, what's your first money memory? What is your first thing that you've ever remembered about money? And we start from there because we've all had childhood financial trauma. Good, bad, indifferent, it doesn't matter. Something younger triggered us to why we feel the way we feel about money. And we have to attack that first. We have to understand the grassroots of that. I used to explain mine, right? My first money memory that ties to all of the things that we talked about earlier was, I think I was like 10 years old, 11 years old. I had earned money, who knows how, cutting grass, doesn't matter. But I finally had enough money to buy my mom's, right? I was raised where item did. And I went to McDonald's and bought her an ice cream cone. And on my way out, my friend stared at me and I crushed it and it fell on the ground. I remember physically crying for a long time. And that still emotionally hurts me today. The fact that I worked so hard for an item for my mother, right? Where she took it as the gesture was where that memory of you wanting to purchase my piece. That still affects me to this day. So I know that. I can recognize that when I'm in that situation, I can breathe and I can use tools of, hey, Let's public. Same thing for you, same thing for anyone else. We've got to figure out what that psi is first, because all of that affects every decision down the road. So it doesn't matter what amazing plan we could put in place, how much money you have to invest, or whatever it is. If we can't figure that part out, down the road, that plan will go away, and you'll go right back to where you, no matter what it is, no matter how good it go. We focus on what that memory is, what that trauma is, recognize it, and then help you build the correct tools around it. And the first one we do is, I do the blame story tool. And that is all the financial decisions that we're thinking about in our plan, blame story. Put it on, say, nope, I can't go purchase that brand new car because Stoy says so. I can't do this because Stoy says so. And a lot of people laugh and they joke and they're like, no, I'm like, seriously. Because you need a scapegoat. As humans, we need that instant thing to say, I can't do it because of somebody. And then say, over time, we'll start to take that away from me and start to work on your trauma, whereas now it's yours. You need a scapegoat first, so that way you can move forward. But we start there, and then over time, it's just about building the right skills and the right mindset.
I was thinking, while you were talking, I was thinking about one of the, it's not a memory, it's a concept. So I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to share one of the things that my parents taught me. My parents taught me, have a steady job, work really well, have a career that you would work for a company. My dad worked for the same company for 30 years. And their money mentality was, for special occasions, like Christmas was massive for my family. It was a massive holiday season. They used to go crazy on presents, and like we sometimes go away for Christmas, and it would all be this huge thing. Now they would go into debt, credit card debt, to do that for us and for family and everything like that. But I didn't realize this at the time. When you're young, you don't realize this, but they would go into debt and they would pay it off in the first 6 months of the next year. And then they'd get themselves straight again. And then it would be quickly round to the next Christmas or another holiday or a birthday or whatever. And they'd flip themselves back into debt to come out of it. Now, that's something that I've spent years like breaking down and understanding. And I didn't have a story that I could blame, unfortunately. I had to do it on my own. But it was that sort of idea of, so what I've learned from my own personal journey is that you don't, like, love and caring is not by gifts. There are, like, the love languages are very important to me. I read them a number of years ago, and it's made me understand myself and my wife and our relationship incredibly well. But when, like, you don't have to go to my specific example, but when you're getting people and they're telling you these stories, it's obviously every story is different. Everyone has different experiences, different sort of impacts. But when do you, so what I had to do was break down that to understand it, to then rebuild it how I wanted to live my life, which is different to how my parents lived. But when you're going through that process with the people, and this even sounds like well before they actually become a client that are asking for financial planning or wealth management, you're, in a way, you're doing an element of therapy to get them to the point where they are suddenly realizing that financial planning and wealth management is important. How do you, is it the whole team that you have work with you that look into that sort of therapy side of financial planning?
Yeah, and I have colleagues that are actual licensed financial therapists.
Right, okay.
My background is in some of the therapy. I do a lot of research on it. And so a lot of what we put out, that's what we talk about the most. I'm one of the few ones that doesn't always talk about Roth IRAs and investments. We only talk about this. People cannot change unless they understand that, but also value themselves and truly value yourself. That's what you are going for. Yeah. You are building that down, breaking it down, and understanding what is my value and do I care? How do I care about myself and how do I want to live? Mm-hmm. And so what we either bring on the team, depending on how severe the situation is, but we take all of those studies and colleagues and talk, and ultimately, all I'm doing is listen. And that's all I'm doing. To quote one of my good buddies who just wrote a book called Shoot the F Up, he literally, that's what he says now, and just says, just shut up and listen. And that's all we do is we listen and they keep talking. And when they keep talking, they're starting to break themselves down. And majority of those conversations end up with tears, emotions, and because you're breaking someone down, right?
Yeah.
The way down to that core. And then from there, it's more of their realization of, oh, I'm not living life the way I want to. I'm not valuing myself in this world the way I want to. I've been doing it because it's how I was raised in the land, or because me told me to, or name the blanket. And from there is when the true work. So it's amazing that you went through it alone. And that's the key thing of why I do everything I do is you're not alone. People are not alone in this world. You might be listening to this right now. I'm alone. I need to get out of this situation. You're not. There's millions of people in your situation are very similar. And there's a lot of us here to help you get through that situation.
So to clarify, I've got my wife who I worked with through this. I also had a therapist for a while as well that was helping me through the emotional side of it to understand it. So I wasn't on I may have portrayed it that I did all the hard work on my own, but there was definitely friends and things like that that were in support of that. But I love the fact that you're doing that. But so just moving on, Black Mammoth started during COVID. Is that right? So what was that change where you went, I need to do this. I'm going to start a business in the most difficult time in the 21st century, if not the 20th century, like, you know, for a whole generation. What made you start that during COVID?
Yeah. So in all our industry, I've had the same clients for a very long time. I started in 2011. So I worked for different firms that my clients stayed with me. It came to the time that I needed to launch Black Mammoth and run a firm the way I wanted. Upon the modern family office and taking care of people where I see, because the other models, even partners to this day, that I left just didn't fit where I wanted to. And we're doing. It was just a matter of how the business grew, and it happened to be during COVID, right? In my world, though, COVID really didn't affect us as negatively as people think it would. It actually was super beneficial, and I actually hate to say that COVID was very good for us, but it was for one simple reason. We're able to do more things virtually now than we ever were.
Yeah.
Difficult are behind.
Yeah.
It was always in the office, right? People would drive 20 minutes to an hour to see you, sit with you for an hour. It's a waste of 3 hours. Where now we can I'm in a conversation, 10 minutes, 15, whatever it is. And it's allowed us to grow around the nation to reach people who actually want to work with us and fit us as a person in our Ohana or our family, as opposed to you're stuck to a geometrical circle around you. So that's really what helped a lot with COVID, and the fact that everyone couldn't come physically. And we jumped to this virtual thing, and we were able to grow from that because we could reach people at their homes in their worst of times and help them then, as opposed to waiting until we had open doors.
Do you think that was your biggest challenge, to the fact that you were limited by most people expecting to go and see their financial planner in their office? Or has there been another challenge that I'm interested in what your biggest challenge has been as servicing your clients with Black Mammoth?
Yeah, my biggest challenge is discoverability and understanding of what we actually do. I mean, vaguely in our industry, because in our industry, specifically in America, we've got registered representatives, financial advisors, financial cleaners, investment advisors. There's a lot for people to understand what the hell you do. And there's good and bad in each one of them. Mm-hmm. What we do, by definition, is financial planning, but that's why I've coined the term modern Philadelphia, because we go above and beyond just the money, right? We're talking about your emotions, your mindset. We're doing your legacy planning. We're in your tax planning. We're here to make and help you with every financial, more like a traditional old school family office. That's where financial planning is heading. But everyone's used to, when you say financial planner, advisor, you name it, it's all investments. What's an entire stock? What's the market going to do tomorrow? I don't know. I really don't care overall. They're part of the plan. And we turn this tide in our industry that investments are just a piece of overall pie. And not a very big one, a very simple one. And everyone's like, that's wrong. You only build wealth based upon the stock market and this. So I was in this. If I could guarantee you $1 billion return rate or 1,000,000,000% return, 100,000,000% return, 100,000, 10,000, 1,000% return, you'd be like, no way. There's no way. You don't have any money to invest. So 0 times 1,000,000 is still 0. So why are we so focused on this little bit of an investment piece of our portfolio when we have a leakage of everything from our insurance to protect us, from our estate planning for our legacy planning? So we can't even run our own budget monthly because of how we're spending based upon our financial trauma. And so the hardest hurdle, and it's still to this day, is truly educating people on what we do or what this new financial planning world is about and how it actually helps you, as opposed to it just being a stock picker or an insurance salesman. Much more than that. It was a lot deeper. The thing is, the modern day person can't really grasp that because they were never taught that the fact to be wealthy, you have to have a team. You talked about enough for you have a team. You have your wife, therapists, friends. The ultra wealthy, they have accountants and lawyers and other investors and other people doing this. No one can do this world in life alone, specifically trying to build money. You can't do it alone. You need a team. And the traditional person doesn't grasp that because it's just fundamentally not there because they were never educated.
So what services do you provide to your clients?
Yeah, we're going to go by the written down services provided.
Yeah, tell me what it says on your services on your website.
We're going to do your investment planning, your insurance planning, your estate planning, tax planning. We're going to help you with lending, buying and selling vehicles, cars, real estate. We're also going to help you with your bookkeeping if you have a business. We'll do more virtual CFO stuff for the business as well. And then we'll do some of the therapist type stuff that party. So that's like the services list.
Yeah.
But ultimately what you're getting is you're getting someone who's your right hand. Someone who's able to do all of those things for you. So you prefer to focus on 2 things. Your family, your loved ones, and whatever's bringing you to make you money. We'll take care of the rest, or at least help you.
It's fascinating. It's really interesting the way that you're building a team around everyone. And I can understand now why you say that your clients are your family or they're coming into your family, because you're supporting them in so many different ways, whether they have 0 in the bank or minus 50,000 or whether they've got 1 million in the bank. You can support them in every aspect of that growth. How do you get your clients? How do you acquire your clients?
Mainly, everyone does it referrals or whatever. I like that term. It's good people saying, hey, connect with good people. So networking, if you will, is the majority of it. But you really track it through all the social medias. But I do know what happens because I've asked them is someone has said they need to look you up. And over time, they look me up. And because of our social media and our content, they eventually book a time. And by the time they do that, not even a sales process, they know that they want to hire me.
Yeah.
We want to guarantee no matter what at that point. It's really where it comes from. It's taking good care of good people, interacting with good people, being out there and being ready, meaning preparing and having all this content out there for when that person is ready to. Unbeknownst to everyone else, you can't tell people to say yes. There's no such thing you only can be there ready when they are by helping them and driving them as you have out there in the interwebs.
Yeah. So networking and connections and referrals, I think, are sometimes a little bit underestimated how powerful they can be. But we've talked about that a lot on my show. I want to just analyze your social media strategy. So you're saying you're posting everywhere. What does that mean? Who is doing that? Who is driving that? Is that you? Is that a team or a person that's helping you drive your social media activity?
Yeah, it's both. I do a lot more of the podcast in my personal Twitter, in friends, because I love those. But we're on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, across both Black Mammoth, me personally, and our podcast. And the team takes care of typically a lot of the podcast and Black Mammoth itself. I run a lot of my personal things of the podcast stuff. And truly, we are like frost everywhere, except for Reddit. kicked up running.
Oh,
Um,
why? What did you do?
because the main reason is because since I'm a very different player, I couldn't answer certain ways on Reddit because I want everything to be anonymous. And I was calling people out knowing what you're saying is fraud. That is illegal. And I know this because I'm a CFP and they're put in the reason why. And Reddit said, no, it's anonymous. You're not allowed to put those things in there. And I got picked up for it. So not on Reddit for that reason is a bummer, but where I said don't run into advice from Reddit because
Yes. That's good advice to not get your financial advice from Reddit.
so the rest of it, we're everywhere and we have to, right? Because we're combating that. We're combating this. We're combating those that are getting financial advice that we could not be able to, are not regulating, and potentially are just trying to sell you sales course or some random link that they're pushing. In that right now is the fundamental fight we're at. Literally everywhere. Truly. And I encourage everyone to comment. And I'm not saying comment and share because of algorithm helpful. But like, I need to be able to know that you're there and what messaging and what questions you want. So that way we can change and adapt to help you.
So one of the questions I like asking wealth managers that I've had on my show, if they look after people's taxes, so their tax return and various things, do you believe that paying tax is a moral issue?
Moral issue. That's a deep question.
It is. And I like it because a lot of people say a certain element of the population would say, yes, absolutely. You pay your taxes. So there's the police, there's the fire brigade, there's the NHS in the UK or whatever. And then you've got the very wealthy and the people aspiring to be very wealthy who are finding loopholes in the tax system, whether they work for a big company, small company, individually, that they're trying to find loopholes. Now, I worked for a big four accounting consulting firm for a number of years in their tax department. I didn't do personal taxes. It was like for global. And it was always interesting to talk when you're talking to the partners and like having a beer at the end of the day. I'd sometimes ask this question. And my conclusion, I'm telling my conclusion before I get your answer, but my conclusion is that it is a legislative operation taxing people. And I don't blame people if, unfortunately, it's often done with richer people that have the accountants that can do it and the tax advisors that can do it. But I personally, and this is controversial and a lot of people are going to send hate about this, but I think that taxes is not a moral issue. It's a legislative issue. And if there are ways around to reduce your taxation, I think that's fine. Now, I'm going to get some hate for it because I know people, I don't often tell you my opinion, but I feel that if they cut these loopholes out of the law by legislation, then there wouldn't be loopholes. So for me, I don't think it's a moral issue. You do need to pay tax. Equally, the people that are earning the most that have these lawyers are probably paying more tax than a person earning $20,000 or pounds. So that was my view on it. What's your thoughts? Is paying tax something that you should absolutely pay morally, everything that you should be owed, or is there a space for that it's a legislative activity, and if there's a loophole, you can exploit it?
Yeah, after you explain, I think the question more is that morally, the moral question around can I don't think avoid tax, that's the wrong word, reduce my taxes based upon loopholes, is that a moral issue or not? We're looking at our tax code, both of ours is not great. I think there's way better options that we could do. So let's first start. For instance,
100% agree.
The fundamental reason behind taxes, I do agree with, because if we were just in a local community, we would take care of each other.
Yeah.
And that tax would look like, hey, I'm coming over to help you, and I'm going to use my tractor, my gasoline.
Yeah.
To help you. And you're going to do something bad. That's technically a tax, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Meaning,
yeah.
A fundamental reason, yeah, because there's too many damn people out here. We need to be able to protect people.
Yeah.
LA fires right now. You only wish we would have figured that far out, but they reduced that budget and taxes. So,
yeah.
Fundamentally, the moral thing of where I stand with, hey, there's holes, or I could pay all my taxes, or I could find the loopholes. No, I believe that is your fundamental right to.
Me too.
There wasn't that case.
Yeah.
Sadly, majority of W-2 people who don't have a business will never be able to use those loopholes. Because the people that are creating loopholes are business owners that have enough money to create and legislate to create these loopholes so they don't pay them.
Mm.
So I don't think that's a moral issue at all, not even close. And I'll get an email for it too. I don't think that's a moral issue. I think we have a fundamental legislative issue, if you will, of how corporations dictate policy.
Yes.
The bigger issue.
Yes.
And I'm a firm believer that, yeah, ultra wealthy should be paying more percentage wise in taxes than you because they have it.
Yeah.
The billionaires in the world, I'm pretty sure we could get rid of world hunger. I think
Yeah.
we could figure out this global energy issue pretty easily.
I don't know if you've heard of this guy called Gary Stevenson, and he's a Brit who was a trader. Everyone who hasn't heard of him, go and look him up. He's on everywhere now, YouTube and all social media. And he's talking about the inequality that's in society. And that the richest, we're talking billionaires, not millionaires, we're talking billionaires who are running these large corporations. We should be taxing those people more because they have more and they can pay more taxes. The middle class who are earning $40 to $100 or $150,000 or pounds, they're being penalised because now it's harder to buy property, real estate, to have as an investment. It's a lot harder to do that now than it was maybe 20 or 30 years ago. I think that whole, you obviously don't want to penalise the people who are generating wealth for services and products that they're providing. But they if Elon Musk paid the tax that he was supposed to be paying, for example, and that's not picking up on him. It could be Jeff Bezos, it could be Mark Zuckerberg, it could be anyone. But them and institutions are sucking up all of the assets, all of the ability of wealth creation. And actually, if we tax them more and not attack the working people, the small business owners, then we would have a fairer and a better society.
I think that also the reason that majority, we're talking about decades and decades of abuse with this situation. Yes, I agree. But who's running where that tax money goes? America's so trillions of dollars in the deficit. It's ridiculous. So cool. Yeah, I think we should. But there's got to be a better route of where that money goes and how it actually helps people. Because our countries don't do the best with where the money goes. And we can't rely on our politicians.
Yeah, I would agree.
Everywhere.
No, I 100% agree.
That's where the catch-22 is, right?
Yeah.
We should, but it should be more like they should be forced to spend 10% of whatever their income is to get rid of world hunger. Or it needs to be more of that. Because if it gets into the hands of the government in America, at least it goes our defense budget. And the rest of it, who knows what happens. And I mean, that's the other side of it kind of sucks the most is they need to be taxed because they have all the money, but if the money gets in the wrong hand, then it can help anybody anyway.
Yeah.
So does it matter if they're actually paying the tax or not?
Yeah. And the whole idea of, do we have good politicians? Are they the right people to be leading countries and states, even in the US? That's a whole different debate, which I don't want to go into if you don't mind. How do you think you've evolved as a leader?
I've had a very great life of amazing leaders around me. I've been collegiate football, played sports my whole entire life. And being able to learn from them, I believe I have adapted the most. Being adaptable and flexible and truly caring for that person. When I was a younger lad, if you will, when I started this career, it was all about like making the money and figuring out how to build based upon that. Over time, I've realized that it's more about caring for the people where they're at and trying to help them in their situation and not just saying, hey, I'm in Mars. Yes, this situation, well, I can't hold them, so I'll just move on to the next person. It used to be like that. Like it used to be that way. Fundamentally how I was raised, that's what I learned, that's what they did. And now as a leader, I realized you should take that opportunity to know what the people, because someone's out there now. If I heard your situation and I go, not really fit for me, but hey, let's go meet with Tom. I'm going to set up a call. I want us to have this deep conversation because what he has or what he led you to is going to get you to where you need. And that has crossed over to everything in my life, both from being involved with nonprofits to community to my own relationships with my wife and my kids and their sports teams. And it's just about seeing people where they're at and being like, yeah, I've got the resources to help. Right. That's been the biggest change in my leadership. And really it took me for this in 2011. I would say it took me past my partnership that I broke off with in 2023. So the end of 2022, it took me 12 years, 11 years to understand that concept and to where I started to shift and change. And you'll see that because that's when my podcast started. And went on from there. My growth in my business reflects the same thing.
What does community mean to you? What does that term mean personally to you? Not your business, but what does that mean to you?
It means having relationships with people that you can truly, in whatever way that love is. When we need help with something, we can be there. If they need help and they're hurting, we're there. It's just about being humans with deep relationships and not the fake ones. And I love COVID, although people forget this in 2020 here in America, but there was a Black Lives Matter movement that was actually more important more before COVID. You really recognize in those two events who true people are and what they do. And community means having a group of people that are very sort of like-minded in all of the politics and everything, but truly care for humans, want to help, and being able to lift each other up when we're down. It's hard. Adulting's hard. It's much harder when you're trying to do it and you're fighting all the outside influences and fighting your family influences. When you have a community to help you through that, meaningful.
Yeah. And you're right. Having support, having people in place that can help emotionally, financially, like the struggles that we have with life, you need to have a team around you. You need to have a community around you to be able to do that. Absolutely. What would you say your risk appetite is?
I take on risks all the time. Well, from I used to take more risks with my body because I was a football player. But from an investment standpoint to how I run my business, all of it, I take risks. Because I know at the end of the day, I'm going to figure it out, whether it's me or being supported. At the end of the day, I want to take those risks so I can have those memories and experience. And to define that risk, sometimes it's investing in that just sound cool and they're different. I vetted them out, but didn't work out. Or is potentially taking out and going in a little bit of credit card debt to take your family on a trip somewhere to create this fine-tuned memory that sometimes is more important. $5,000. And so for me, I take on more risks for two reasons. One is just who I am. But two, I would rather take on those risks, learn that experience so I can pass it on to, so I can help others be like, and don't do it. Don't miss an ethanol plant in the middle of Iowa. Don't do it. It's a bad idea. If I can learn from those experiences with my network of doing, making spread them out further, so other people don't have to make that risk and take on that loss of whatever it may be, whether it's financial or not.
What's been your largest financial loss?
Ethanol plant, or whether you need $85,000, 18 months.
So what were they building?
An ethanol plant. So here, obviously, we're Corn City, but ethanol being huge in gasoline, when they clean things. Brazil has a really big plant. Partner at that time was going to run as the CFO and trusted people. Okay, cool. I'm going to do it. I've seen the one in Brazil that we're going to do work. So why wouldn't it work here? And it didn't. Check it run into the ground. And there's a lot of other reasons why, but it definitely didn't work. One, you can't trust everybody. You can't trust even our partner. You really need to understand a little more so about certain things. And from there, it's helped me with my due diligence process and my vetting process for other things with the right decision going forward. And I think that saved a lot of my clients money, and it saved me on other investments down the road. So that's been the biggest one. I hope they don't get bigger. I picked the wheel.
Thank you for your honesty with that. That was a bit of a tough question, so I appreciate you being so honest and vulnerable with me. What's the plan for the next 2 to 5 years?
Yeah, 2 to 5 years is, well, we got my wife at a corporate about a month ago. This is her first full week. This is the week of January 10th, if you will. So the first thing is that my business is more wrapped around the family. And then to take that next step of, in our industry, it's very hard to create a better community that supports each other the way I've been talking. Now, we do on a smaller scale, but in what I believe a wealth way around the world is there's not enough of us in here to be in competition with. Just in America, there's 106 million adults, 500,000 small businesses just in America, and there's just not enough of us to support them. And we're focused specifically on the next couple of years, reaching out, either interviewing them or these really great people, and building this community of when I'm going into a client meeting with you or someone else, I can connect the right person, and I'm not worried about you stealing my client. I'm not worried about money flowing to someone else, and truly doing it for the goodness of it. We're doing that through our podcast. We're doing that through our business and really sharing that message. And then the other side of things is truly getting modern family office, that definition out, and letting them understand where financial planning is going and that there's already places there for them. And that's really the two key components of what we're focusing on over the next 2 years.
I just love that modern family office, because some of us know the family office, which is generally rich families. They have a team for their real estate project, their tax project, their investment projects, and they've got those people in place. And I've had people on my show who have run them previously or been involved in them. So I love that idea of just putting that modern family office idea. I think it's so powerful. And that for me would be your marketing. Your marketing's there. You've already worked it out. It's just now it's about the education side of educating people about what that actually means for individuals, for families, for communities that you're supporting. So definitely my advice would be is keep going with that, because that will definitely, once you've educated people, will resonate with that, and I'm sure they'll flock to you more. We're coming to the end of the interview. I ask the same 6 questions to all of my guests. So quick fire questions. They don't need a quick fire answer. First question is, what's the best decision that you've made?
Personally or business, doesn't matter.
Whatever, up to you.
Obviously, marrying my wife was fundamentally the best decision I've made personally.
I'm sure she's listening to that and she really likes you saying that.
Point for home. But the best decision overall in my life that I made was to go play. The lessons I've learned, the church I've been on, the relationships I have, fundamentally made me the person I am. I mean, I as much as it hurts my body to this day, or have some student loan debt, it was invaluable to me.
Amazing. What's the best piece of advice you've been given?
I wouldn't say this is a direct, like, someone gave it. It's more of I follow them and I understood what it meant. And it literally, it's a Deion Sanders quote, for those out there.
Sanders was a running back, was he?
Was a defensive back.
Defensive back.
Republican Falcons, and assistant coach of Colorado University football. Was look good, play good, and pay good. And back then, it just like I'm trying to get to that NFL. But the more I put that down to my life now today is, if you feel like you look good, right, you're going to operate well. You're going to play good in your business. You're going to play well with others, your relationship, etc. And money will fall. And that's been the same quote I've had over time. It's just shifted from obviously being an athlete, directly quoted from that, to how I'm talking to people and tell them, hey, if you can take care of yourself, you're going to have opportunities down the road. Those opportunities will, no matter what, long as you take yours.
Is there anything that you've, this is not one of the questions, it's just something that's popped into my mind. You talked about running business, working with people. Have you quit on a business? Have you stopped? Have you folded a business? Have you said, this isn't working, I've given it a year or two, it's not working, I want to move on to something else?
Yeah, actually just folded it up at the end of this year. We had a hedge fund, both Hall of Funds, that was running for 2 years, ran very well. And then we ran into a lot of big, weird mistake, not our mistake per se, but weird issues that I never saw coming. And I said at the end of this year, I'm going to have everyone out and be like, I'm done. The stress every day and not being able to actually physically do it. I said, I can't run that.
Interesting.
And it has now changed me to where I'm not going to. And now I'm still with other people who love that stress every day. Put that part of the team and get me out. So I literally just did that. And effective 12/31, really.
That's brave. It's brave, Stoy. It's brave to actually stop something.
A lot of personal brain that gets hurt, a lot of business stuff. People lost money, so you got to deal with that. But it's for the better, right? And that's how much meet with everyone who's involved too, is it weren't the way we wanted it. We've all learned a very huge lesson. And it's just I'm who I want to be. It's who I am. Why try to keep that alive? Why try to keep it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do.
Amazing. Thank you. Who's the person that's helped you most in your career?
Good question. This question like this one, and was your best mentor or coach growing up? I have a lot. There's so many. I would say in my career, the most influential one was from my first original job, if you will, out of college in this industry. And it's funny because he's now, I believe, the president of the entire company. At that point, he wasn't. I had met him in a conference, and I just basically said, hey, I'm trying to be like you. I want to be good. Can you teach me? For about 18 months, he took me under his wing from a distance and told me, you need to quit doing it the way this company tells you to do it. Quit doing this business the way your leader tells you to do it. You need to do this business based upon you. People love you. They don't care about the product, the service, or whatever. It's only about you. So start running your career, your life, the way you want it. When fun of it, they hit me harder because I'm a light skin, right? You're black and I'm not white. And growing up in America, if you were light skinned like I am, you weren't part of each group. Or white, the word stuff, you were black. And you're in this weird mulatto mixed amoeba thing. And so I grew up most of my life like my toe over here, my toe over here, my toe over here. Basically said, sister, just live life how you want. Do your business how you want. And from that moment on, I did. We ended up actually getting fired from my regional director at that point, probably 6 months after I met him, because I wanted to do it my way. And I would never look back. My career wouldn't be a lot. We wouldn't be talking if I was still there.
Yeah, exactly. Tell me about a regret that you have.
Regrets. A lot of regrets, but the biggest one would probably be recently in business is just trusting my former partner to the degree. Come to learn that he was more narcissistic than I thought he would. And it hurt my growth, hurt my relationship with my wife at that time, my relationship with some of my clients. Hell, the worst part hurt myself. I regret not believing and recognizing that sooner. I do not regret the relationship. I did not regret what I learned, the thing that we did positively together, but I regret not listening to myself and going, yeah, you're hurting. I was having stress stuff. I went about MRI on my brain, having huge headaches. There was just a lot of issues and I wasn't listening. But I regret not listening to my body and myself more than that situation or than him.
Thank you for your honesty and vulnerability. What are you most proud of?
Human. My voice. What's just kids or they test you, okay?
Yeah, no. How many have you got?
Two boys, 10 and 7.
I've got 2 girls, 10 and 8.
Go.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. They give you the most back and they take the most from you. It's the deal that you get with having kids.
every day too. It's not like it comes and goes. It's every day there's something. I am so proud of who they are already. Proud of being able to teach children, but proud to have them and see them grow and being able to get the good out of what I've learned in life and give it to them so they don't have to live the life that I had to. They'll have their own struggles. We don't, but not the one that I had to go through. How to be a father.
Amazing. Tell me something that most people don't know about you.
I'm out there. So one's trying to pick of ones that I don't say the most. I would say that a lot of people don't know that I'm a huge foodie. That I almost chose culinary school over a football career.
Wow.
I would think it's probably the one that people don't know the most about. Which is cool now because there's culinary schools that are in the big universities, so you can apply football into both, which thanks everybody for that. But it's my actual true love and passion for food, the traditional way of making it, understanding it, the culture and guides you get from it. That's probably it for most people.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you.
Really know how obsessed I am.
Okay, wonderful. What does legacy mean to you?
Legacy is we're gone or I'm gone. It's just that people just say, "Do you remember Stoy?" And they have a good time. That's what I think legacy means. It's hey, remember those good times? Remember that? Remember for my boys? He stands up. He told everything that he could. He did his best, and ultimately we are ahead of more so than he ever was. What he did for us.
Amazing. And lastly, where can people find you if they want to find more about you and your business?
Yes. You go on blackmammoth.com, nobs.com. Again, you can go to every social media platform except for it and find me at Stoy Hall or at Black Mammoth or at NOBS Wealth. We are on YouTube as well. And the only ask I ever have on anyone else's, either my own podcast, reach out, DM me, comment. I don't really care how you do it. I'm here to help you. My team is, my resources are. We just want to have a sweet conversation. You're probably listening to this going, I don't resonate with that, or I don't resonate with that, and it doesn't matter. But we're here to have the conversation. You can open up and have a conversation. You're taking that next step forward. And that's the hardest step, is that first step.
Amazing. Thank you, Stoy. Thank you so much for your unique, and I think it is genuinely unique, that whole idea of a modern family office helping communities with financial literacy and with financial education. I think is an amazing thing. Please keep doing it. Please keep banging that drum, because more people need that than they even realize. So thank you so much for sharing your story and sharing your expertise. Thanks, Stoy. I really hope you've enjoyed that content. It's a really fascinating interview that I've done there. So please do, if you are enjoying this content, please do give it a like. Please do give a subscribe. It'd be really good to boost the subscriptions. It really makes a difference to the algorithm in YouTube. So thank you for that. If you do hit subscribe, hit the bell icon and you'll get all of the content. You'll get notified when all the content is available. Thank you so much for your time. It's really appreciated. Thanks a lot.